welcome back guys to the channel. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we'll be doing something completely different. I've never ever done anything like this before. I'm going to be ranking, actually starting my series on ranking horror movie series. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and a like. I'm going to need to know what your favorite movie from this series is going to be. And this series, of course, you clicked on it already, so you know, but the series I'm doing is A Nightmare on Elm Street. There were 9 movies in total. We are going to rank them 9-1, and we're going to have some fun doing it. So kick back, relax. I'm going to go through each movie. I just rewatched all of them. Just saw one of them for the first time, but we're going to get into it, and you guys be sure to let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on my rankings. All right, so we're starting with number 9 here, and this movie is flat out terrible. It's called Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Came out in 1991, and luckily Wes Craven, who is the mastermind behind even getting a Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream, which we'll get to at some point, had nothing to do with this. Thank God. Clearly, he had nothing to do with this. It's the absolute worst. I mean, we get Freddy pretending to be the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. We get a falling house effect. We get a weird moment where Freddy hits a main character with a bus and then launches him through a portal that is very reminiscent to, if you guys have ever seen WandaVision, Westview portal, that weird anomaly. It's just really bad. There's, a psych ward again, because we're doing that all over again. We're reusing the third movie, which had, Dream Warriors, which took place in a psych ward. So we're reusing the shelter kids setting, which again is just, I don't like reusing anything. Even if you're copying off yourself, it's just bad. For whatever reason, they go to the Nightmare on Elm Street house in this one. I mean, they do it every single movie for whatever reason. And Freddy, this is just... This is just such a bad movie. I mean, Freddy makes fun of a deaf kid. He kills Alice Cooper. It's just a really bad movie. We see Freddy's daughter, which is just weird. And then weird dream demons. This might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen, I'll be honest with you. Shout out to Robert Englund, who never gave up and continued despite horrible after horrible scripts and dialogue. He just continued to play Freddy Krueger. Now, this movie, I'm just not going to sugarcoat it, is just flat out terrible. Do I recommend you watching it? Probably never, unless you're doing what I'm doing and ranking them. If you're going to rank them, you should watch it, but it's horrible. So save yourself the time. If you're not going to rank them, do not watch it. Number 8 is 1989's A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. And this one's pretty bad too, but this one's weird. There's hardly any kills. Freddy is rebirthed by Amanda Kruger, who's resurrected again. It's just really weird. The main character, Alice, she has a baby that ends up killing Freddy at the end with his tongue, and then puts himself back in utero. It's just so... Some of these movies, man, like, in this, we're talking about an iconic series, and it goes to show you, a lot of these horror movies, I'm a diehard horror fan. A lot of them are really good. A lot of them are really bad. Number 7, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. This had potential. This could have been a lot better if they didn't kill all of the Dream Warriors, like, at the beginning of the movie. It takes place right after the third. For whatever reason, they decided to kill off Nancy Thompson. I have no idea as to why, but Freddy dies in the third and then gets resurrected because he has to, but he gets resurrected by the dumbest thing. It's in Kincaid, who is one of the main characters, one of the Dream Warriors in the third one. His dog, Jason, pees fire on the ground in a dream, which then reassembles Freddy. So that's weird. It's just really dumb. I mean, I don't have to tell you that. You just heard what I said. You can tell it's pretty dumb. The whole point of the title was that it was like a stupid Dream Master rhyme that would beat Freddy, and it's just like really bad. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, it's bad. So That's the Dream Master coming in at 7. It's just, yeah. Corny, stupid, whatever. We move on. Number 6, The Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge. I know a lot of people actually like this movie. It came out in 1985. I'm not the biggest fan. Obviously, it comes in at 6 out of 9, so clearly I'm not the biggest fan. The reason for it, the direct sequel kind of just tears away from Nancy Thompson, who I think is a great character and who I think they should have used a lot more. And we see that. But it's so weird because Jesse Walsh like moves into her house. His family moves into her house and like starts seeing Freddy. He's got the funniest scream I've ever heard, so that's the cool thing about it. But Freddy like torments him and never kills him, and it just kind of, I feel like it's removed from the first one. Like the first one, he's killing you in your dreams and all that, and then this one he turns like Jesse into him, like turns him into a killer. It's just it's weird. I wasn't a big fan of that twist, to be honest with you. I thought it came off a little desperate, and I thought it kind of took away some of the fear, some of the ferocious side of Freddy Krueger. It was not my favorite, but again, Jesse Walsh's iconic scream is just hilarious. So I guess, I mean, it has the highest kill count because of, the backyard scene during the party, but I mean, we're not going to act like this was a great movie by any stretch. Number 5, 2003, we have Freddy versus Jason, which I guess you could call part of the Friday series as well. I give it both to them. This is more of a Jason movie, but Freddy is literally in the title and he's the first name, so it's part of the series. It's the highest grossing film, or at least it was. This really feels like, again, like a Jason movie, but they fight each other, so that's pretty cool. Again, it's not very good. With this, I just felt like the franchise is actually somewhat overrated, which is kind of unfortunate, and I kind of realized that as I was going through it. I really do like A Nightmare on Elm Street, but overall, the franchise, and as you see with these iconic franchises, they miss the mark later on. This one was in 2003. It was, again, the highest grossing Nightmare movie in the franchise, and it's great that they fight, but like I said, it's really just a Jason movie, and at the end they fight. So it's not the best. They teased it. It took forever to happen. It literally took 10 years after they teased it in the final Freddy's Dead movie, but either way, whatever. That comes in at 5. Number 4 is Dream Warriors, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I know a lot of folks do really like this movie. It's a cool concept. I thought it was really good stuff for its time. You have to appreciate the special effects because it's 1987. The special effects work then. Obviously, it's a little dated now, actually very dated. The Dawkins song, Dream Warriors, absolutely rocks, so that's pretty cool. Patricia Arquette is really good. A young Patricia Arquette in this is really good in this one. My biggest gripe with later on is that she wasn't in the fourth one. She actually got recasted, so I wasn't a big fan of that. Freddy's great in this one. I definitely like Freddy. I like the concept. I like the psych ward. I like tying in Nancy Thompson again. But I just really don't understand why they killed her off at the end. It just seemed really unnecessary and kind of put the whole franchise in kind of a flux. I just think besides Freddy Krueger, obviously, Nancy Thompson was the best character, so that just didn't really make any sense to me. And then, like I said, Kristen Parker not being played by Patricia Arquette, I think really hurts the series. So there's a huge drop-off after this one. This is like the last really good Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and it comes in at 4. Number 3, it came after, way after, 1994, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. You have to see it to believe it. It's such a cool concept. It's super meta. Wes Craven, a decade after the original Nightmare series kicked off, he makes a really cool movie that stars the real-life actors, and it's like going against the idea, like there's this fantasy reincarnation of Freddy Krueger. It's creative. Like I said, it's super meta. It takes jokes from itself. I just love this take on it. I felt like it was a really cool movie. And, I like the creativity. I mean, Wes Craven at some point down the road was like done with the movies. Like, not just done as in he wasn't working on them. I mean, I don't even think he ever finished Freddy's Dead, and he wanted to, watch them over before he made this. This is the project he was going for. So this was the last hurrah, so to speak, of Craven before he went into the Scream series. This comes in at 3 for me. I really enjoy this film. There's kills. They're good kills. It's Nancy Thompson in that being played by her actual real life actor. I don't know. I really like the idea of it. Thought it hit well. Comes in at 3. Number 2, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. Yes, that's right. The original is going to come in at 1, but we'll talk about the remake at 2. I know a lot of people didn't like this. It's going to get a lot of hate in the comments, and I'm well aware of it. But I think it accomplished its mission. It rebooted the series, although we never got anything after that. But I think it did a nice job of rebooting the original, kept a lot of the same things from the original, added its own little twists and turns and things along that nature. And I think it showed off the importance of what you could do with Freddy Krueger in the modern era and using CGI. And they did a nice job with that. Thought everyone was impressive and just really enjoyed this film in general. That's why it comes in at 2. And then lastly, I don't always go by this rule, but this is the one that started it all, and this is actually a great movie. It's the original A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984. Wes Craven created a masterpiece of an original movie, which introduces Freddy Krueger, of course, played by Robert Englund, Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp, and it's just such a good movie. I mean, it really is. And they kind of trick you. You don't really know who the final girl's going to be, because at the beginning, she gets killed off pretty quickly. And we also get to see Johnny Depp's incredible character sinking in the mattress blood fountain scene, which is just so iconic in horror. But I thought they did just a great job with this one. And Wes Craven's just a legend, in my opinion. But this is absolutely iconic, and that's really what it comes down to. It's an iconic film. There are, this is just what started it all. And it was just a really well done movie. So that comes in at 1 for me. So to recap, I have Freddy's Dead at 9. I have Dream Child at 8. I have a Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master at 7. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddys Revenge at 6. Freddy vs. Jason at 5, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors at 4, Wes Craven's New Nightmare at 3, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake at 2, and finally, last but not least, the number 1, which is A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984. That's going to do it for me. You guys let me know in the comment section if you like this type of video, first off, and secondly, if you agreed or disagreed with anything. I'm more than happy to talk about it, have a little bit of a debate. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys take care. And next up, we will have Scream. Take care, guys.